Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? Man, oh man, what a game between the Braves and the Phillies earlier. I'm going to cover everything about that. But we just had the Diamondbacks Dodgers Game 2 come to an end. And I'm shocked. The Diamondbacks have taken a 2-0 series lead. My goodness, I am still processing this. This is pretty crazy. Let's dive into it. We're going to get to the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers first. And, hey, I honestly think the star of the show for tonight was Zach Gallen at the end of the day. I mean, who else really could it be? I mean, sure, they got some timely hits there from the lineup. But to me, Zach Gallen, the way he pitched tonight, wow, he just looked fantastic. You know, sure, he ran into some trouble. That's the thing with Zach Gallen. He's going to have his moments. You know, he's going to have some bumps along the way. That's something that we have seen with Zach Gallen. But when his stuff is working, man, oh man, this guy is just, he's on another level. Zach Gallen tonight, mixing in a lot of fastballs here. Really led the way with the fastballs tonight. Knuckle curves. Love the knuckle curve with Zach Gallen, man. I love a guy with a knuckle curve. Really makes me happy. Worked in some cutters there as well. He was just mixing and matching. I mean, if we take a look at really where he was operating, he was kind of all over the place, right? Knuckle curves down, you know, in on the lefties, away from the righties. Really working in the zone with the fastball. Working inside on the righties a lot. You know, he was working inside on the lefties. He was just working all over the zone tonight. And that, to me, is what makes Zach Gallen successful with the stuff that he has. When he's just working up and down in the zone, left to right in the zone, working outside of the zone, he's already a guy who has great stuff. But when he is just mixing and matching like he is, he's going to be tough to beat. And the Dodgers really had no answer for him tonight. Let me actually pull up the box score here. Let's go to that right quick. And here we go. Let's see, actually, I don't know. Okay, cool. All right, so they definitely have it updated now. So kind of just getting to the offense here. I mean, the Diamondbacks, you know, you got to think, you know, the Diamondbacks, they actually did leave a lot of runners on base tonight. You know, sure, they ended up scoring the 4 runs, but they had a lot of good offense tonight. But they could have done more. But the Dodgers, they were able to get a lot of decent work from the bullpen for the most part. Really, at the end of the day, it just came down, you know, to the starting pitching. And this is where, for me, the Dodgers, I felt maybe that bullpen could really come through for them. That bullpen has just been so good over the last couple of months, especially after adding Red Sox legend Ryan Brazier. That bullpen has been amazing for them. And I just figured maybe they could get enough from the starting pitching. I went with a bold pick, going Bobby Miller as a possible game changer in these playoffs. This is a guy, he's got great stuff, but it really just goes to show it is very hard to lean on a rookie pitcher in the playoffs. I know that might be a lot of common sense to people, you know, but when I'm looking at a guy like Bobby Miller, I love the stuff that he has, but it really just goes to show it's not all about the stuff in the postseason. You can have the velocity, right? You can have these nasty off-speed pitches, but you got to know how to pitch too. You can't get by on stuff alone, especially with how good these hitters are. Bobby Miller looked really good in the regular season, but postseason baseball is different. It's just a different game. The hitters are just so good at this point, not just because you know, of the good seasons that they've had, but you got to think these hitters, they're so dialed in, right? In the beginning of the year, you're going to see pitchers way ahead of the hitters, but the hitters over time, over the course of the regular season, they heat up. And once you get to the postseason, hitters are just so, for the most part, hitters are dialed in, right? They've had a full season. You know, sure, maybe some of them can go into slumps, but by this time, pitchers need to be at their best. You don't necessarily need to be perfect in October if you're a pitcher, but you got to be pretty close to it, especially with how good these hitters are at this point of the year. And right now, the Dodgers are just not that. I don't know. You know, the Braves right now, we'll get to the Braves. They woke up tonight. I was starting to think the Dodgers were going to wake up at one point. I thought they were going to be able to do something against the Diamondbacks bullpen, kind of like how the Braves woke up. In the end, this Dodgers offense, sure, Mookie Betts and Freeman, but these two guys for them, they kind of killed him tonight. There was a lot of moments there for Freeman, really not coming through. Betts, the one thing with Mookie, man, he is so inconsistent in the playoffs. Like a couple of years ago, 2020, had a really good postseason there. I remember going back to the early days of the Red Sox. There was one postseason. 2018, he was actually not very good. I believe it was 2017. He had a pretty decent few games in the postseason there. But he's just so up and down in the postseason. You know, they're so good in the regular season, and they've just come into this series, and they haven't really been able to do much. JD Martinez, this was a guy I actually thought could do something tonight. I'm a big JD Martinez homer. I'm a big JD Martinez fan. I figured this is a guy I think that could come through tonight. You know, this is a guy that really prepares himself. I expected JD Martinez to do something tonight, and he did. In the end, he had Kike Hernandez there, had the infield hit to score another run. But the Dodgers, they're just not getting anything. Freeman did have a hit tonight, but, 1 for 8 combined from Betts and Freeman at the top of the lineup. That's not going to get it done. And those are your two guys that you're leaning on in this postseason. You got Smith in the 3-hole, not getting anything done. Muncy coming through a little bit tonight. He did score he scored a run and he got a hit, but you're not getting anything from the top of the order. And I talked about this coming into the game today. I was saying the Dodgers, they needed to come out swinging against Gallen. They needed to really attack him, right? Not force it by any means, but really, really try to jump on him when you can. And the Diamondbacks actually did the opposite. They actually were the ones that jumped on the Dodgers, right? They kind of got ahead of them. They didn't let the Dodgers try to get into a comfort zone early on. The Diamondbacks, once again, they're just aggressive, and they're aggressive early. And that's what I like about this Diamondbacks team. They're just swinging right now. Huge first inning, jumping all over Bobby Miller. Corbin Carroll getting it started with the walk. You had Marte, had the bunt, Pham with the base hit. Walker Moreno producing some runs to make it 2-0. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., base hit to make it 3-0. He also homered in the 6th as well. So the Diamondbacks right now, they're just really tough to beat. They're really tough to pitch to right now, especially in the early goings of these games. They're so aggressive right now. The Dodgers, like I said, they put on a couple of runs. They battled back, but there's just it's not a complete offense right now. And without Betts and Freeman, which is really the two key cogs in their lineup, if those guys aren't producing, it's tough for this lineup to really get going. So right now, I think just Betts and Freeman are absolutely killing this team. They did have a pinch hit there with Colton Wong at one point. I guess I understood it. Colton Wong has actually been hitting decently for the Dodgers, but I don't know. Miguel Rojas had the hit in the game earlier on. I saw some people questioning the pinch hit with Colton Wong, and he just ended up not being able to come through in a good spot for the Dodgers there. So, I don't know. Say what you will about that move. I can understand it, but I saw a lot of people upset with that, saying, why take out Miguel Rojas? Miguel Rojas is not really known for the bat, but it just goes to show how much people do not trust Colton Wong. And in that situation, hey, he proved those people right. In the end, the Dodgers, they did have a chance there. In the 6th inning, you had Sal Frank pitching for the Diamondbacks. James Outman, huge situation there as well, right in that same inning, striking out there with the bases loaded. That was massive, huge strikeout there. And that's another guy, James Outman. This is a bit of a catalyst kind of a guy. And he just wasn't able to get anything going at the bottom of the order. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of this Dodgers team right now. Again, I think the keys it's Betts and Freeman. You live and die on Betts and Freeman. If those guys aren't doing anything for you, this lineup is garbage, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Dodgers, but in the end, I'm going to give more credit to the Diamondbacks. They're just playing a more complete game right now. They're swinging the bats. They don't look scared out there. They're just playing a comfortable game. They got a bit of a swagger to them. There's just something about them. They just seem so confident right now. I don't know. Hey, maybe we got those 2001 vibes. Maybe. I don't know. But Diamondbacks fans, You got to be feeling really good right now, especially with how these bats are swinging, with how Gallen has pitched. Now, let's go to game 3. Let's go to game 3. And I think right now, you got to be feeling pretty good. You got a 2-0 series lead. You got Fott on the mound for game 3 in a couple of days. Lance Lynn has looked absolutely miserable right now. Foolish baseball. He is waiting for Brandon Fott to come through for him. He's a big Brandon Fott fan. I think right now, at home against Lance Lynn. Now, Lance Lynn, the one thing I'll lean on with him, he is a veteran guy. He is a guy that he has had some of these performances before. But with the way he has pitched, I don't see how you can have any confidence right now. I don't know. He has just not been good. And Fott is a guy, I like the stuff with him. Hey, remember, go back to the wild card round. Go back to that. Everyone was thinking, why the heck are they starting Fott in game 1 of the wild card round? And ended up paying off big time. You know, he didn't pitch a beauty by any means, but he got through a little bit. Came up with some spots. He was effective enough. And here he is again. This is a future guy for them. And he's in a big spot here. We'll have to see how he goes. Tim Trussell, how you doing? $4.99 Padres fan here. We're cheering for you guys. You guys have a really special team. Man, I'm jealous. Congrats. Hey, the Diamondbacks, they're a fun team right now. Very fun team. I've been on the Diamondbacks train for a couple of years now. I'll be honest, like I expected them to make the postseason. I figured that they definitely had a chance to get by the wild card round. I had them losing to the Brewers in the wild card round. I did have them losing to the Dodgers in this series. I figured you're probably even looking at a possible sweep. And right now, the Diamondbacks are looking like they're going to sweep the Dodgers. I had this completely wrong. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a doofus that sits at my desk, but this is a fun team. This is a fun team to watch right now. Really like watching this Diamondbacks team. And I'm happy because I have been a guy that's been waiting for this Diamondbacks team to emerge over the last couple of years. Lots of young talent, guys on the team that I've just enjoyed watching, and they've really put it together this year. And I'm just so happy for the success right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, hey, I'm glad they're proving me wrong, you know? So glad they're proving me wrong because I've been on this bandwagon. So, thank you, Tim Trussell, for the super chat. Do the Dodgers have any hope in this series? I mean, when you see these numbers with Lance Lynn, a 5.73 ERA, a 5.53 FIP on the year, I mean, my goodness, we can even go look at the numbers alone with the Dodgers. The ERA has been a bit better with the Dodgers, but the FIP is a full run higher than it was with the White Sox. The xFIP is almost a run and a half higher than it was with the White Sox. The strikeouts are way down with the Dodgers. I don't know. I don't see how you can be confident in Lance Lynn at this point. Has he had any starts against Arizona this year? I mean, you'd have to go way back if he did. Nope, no starts against Arizona. So that is maybe one thing, maybe one positive you can take. The Diamondbacks haven't seen him. But to me, you know, Lance Lynn, he's just looked flat this year. The stuff hasn't looked good. I will say he looked okay in those last couple of starts against the Giants. Now, I will say this. He had a couple of starts there that really did inflate his ERA and FIP against the Marlins and the Braves. Since then, he has looked a little better. However, you know, Lynn, I don't know, man. Is this like watching him? I don't know. He had the 4 walks against the Giants in that last one. If I were to kind of go on a gut feeling here, I think Lance Lynn will do okay. But with how these Diamondbacks bats are, how aggressive they are right now, I could absolutely see them jumping all over Lance Lynn. If Lynn can give them a good start, the question is, can the Dodgers actually complete a comeback? I think the key for the Dodgers is they need, I think, more time to really get these bats to wake up. They need to get more at-bats. They need to try and get back into the rhythm. I mean, of course, it's common sense. You're going to have Lance Lynn at least pitch okay for you tomorrow. You have to win tomorrow for the Dodgers. But I think another key behind them winning tomorrow is I think it gives the offense a little bit more time to get themselves going. I think if you're the Diamondbacks, I think you want to end this series. Of course you want to end this series. Any team wants to finish the sweep. Any team wants to end the series as early as possible. But I think the Diamondbacks really do need to win this game 3 because I don't want to let these Dodgers bats get going. So to me, if I'm the Diamondbacks, I'm staying with what's been working. You're staying aggressive. You're coming out hot. That's what you got to do for the Diamondbacks, in my opinion. Fott, let's see if he can even, do a little bit better than what he did against the Brewers. This is an interesting one. Lance Lynn, he's one of those guys where I feel like he's either going to get hammered or he could end up being pretty decent. So we'll have to see how it goes. Sorry, do I keep saying tomorrow? Yeah, the next game's Wednesday. I apologize. So game 3 on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday or is it Thursday? I don't even know. I'm so tired right now. I don't know what the heck is going on right now. Is it Wednesday the next game? Is it Thursday? I wish I said the dates. Hold on, let me go to the... I'm so out of it right now. It is Wednesday. Okay, it is Wednesday. So, all right. But that's what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking if I were to lean one way for game 3, I think if you're a betting man, I think you have to lean Diamondbacks here. I'm not going to completely close the book on the Dodgers just yet because I wonder if Lance Lynn could end up coming up decently, at least. Who knows? Maybe he ends up having a really good start, but I think right now you got to lean Diamondbacks, especially going home. I don't know, man. The way these bats are looking right now, I wouldn't want to go up against this Diamondbacks team. So, yeah, Robert Ferguson, I agree. They got to win game 3, in my opinion. I don't want these Dodgers bats to do anything to try and get going, right? The more pitches they see, the more at-bats they have, it's only going to help them try to get going. So, let's move on here. Great win for the Diamondbacks tonight. Great win. But let's talk about this Phillies-Braves game. Wow. This might be one of the best games I think I've ever watched, at least in recent memory. This was a fun one here tonight, man. Right now, the odds have shifted back to the Braves, and I think for good reason. Goodness gracious. So let's go to the box score here. Here we go. So in the end, for the most part in this game, it looked like the Phillies were going to ride to an easy win. Zach Wheeler was looking incredible in this game. He was looking so good. Struck out 6 of the first 7 batters. Unbelievable. Struck out the side in the first. He struck out 3 in the second. He had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning. They couldn't do anything against him. Zach Wheeler is amazing, and I think will go down as one of the better free agent signings of all time, especially at least in Phillies history. Unbelievable. We're kind of just going back over, how this got going. The Phillies, again, not trying to force anything, not trying to do anything crazy, just playing their game, being patient. Fried ended up being okay in this game. Wasn't amazing in this one, but he wasn't bad, I would say, overall. He only went to 4, though. You got to get Max Fried to go deeper into these games. 6 hits to 3 runs. Just not a lot from Max Fried. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not surprised about that. The guy missed a little bit of time. He didn't look the most sharp as I've seen him in the past. I think Fried, this is a guy, he needs to get another start under his belt to really get into a rhythm. But Zach Wheeler, man, I know the Braves. I'm going to rave all about the Braves here in just a second. But Zach Wheeler, this guy is at the top of his game in the postseason. Went 6 1/3 tonight. Yeah, sure, did give up the homer to Darno there, but 10 Ks, needed only 92 pitches to get through that point. Wheeler's incredible. Absolutely incredible. But Darno, homering in the 7th, did end his night. And I saw some people saying, did they keep Zach Wheeler in a little too long? I don't think so. The strikeouts they were heavy early on, and then the Braves were starting to make a little bit more contact as the game went on. And I don't think they kept him in too long. I don't think so. I think, to me, you got to lean on this guy with how good he was pitching in that game. You wanted him to try and get through 7 innings. So I don't think he was in too long, in my opinion. I saw people saying that on Twitter. But, just one more thing about Zach Wheeler, taking a look at how he was pitching here. Again, this is what makes him so successful. Really just all over the zone, high with the fastballs, low with the off speed, going in on righties with the sinker, going away on righties with the slider, coming in on lefties with the slider. He's just doing a bit of everything. But you can see here that he was very up in the zone with the fastball. It's really, when you think about it, it's a bit more simple than you'd think. High with the fastballs, low with the off speeds, right? Working outside the zone. This is what makes Zach Wheeler so good with this, and combine the stuff. He looked phenomenal. Taking a look at the breakdown for him tonight, the sweeper had so much more spin on it tonight. The curveball was really going tonight. Everything just looked really good. Sinker was down to his usual, but the way the sweeper and the curve were working tonight, there's no surprise to see how good he pitched overall. But let's get to the Braves, right? Of course, we can talk the Phillies. They got off to the great start, and everything was looking really solid for them early on. Real Muto, coming up big there. But this, to me, this felt like the Braves, kind of like what I was saying with the Dodgers. They just needed a few more at-bats. They just needed to see some more pitches. And it just felt like, and this is what I thought was going to happen with the Dodgers, it just felt like it was only a matter of when the Braves were going to come through. And it happened, right? They got it going, right? You had the home run from Darno there. And I can't even describe the ending to the game. You know what the ending to this game reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of the Rays and the Dodgers back in the 2020 World Series with that crazy play. That was, what was that game? What game was that again? Was that game 4? Game 3? I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about? With Brett Phillips, my infamous call. Who the heck is Brett Phillips? Right? Remember that whole wackadoodle play that happened, and the Rays ended up winning it in the end? This wasn't nearly the same kind of play, but it kind of gave me the same thoughts. Just so many emotions happening at once. I thought Castellanos homered. I'm not kidding. As soon as he hit the ball, it didn't look like a homer right off the bat, but it kind of looked like one of those homers off the bat where it didn't look like it at first, but once it kind of kept carrying, I was like, oh, that might get out. And then Michael Harris, man, I know that guy has come up big with some catches in the past, but holy cow, amazing play. Absolutely amazing play. But what made that so amazing is he didn't even have the best throw. But the fact that he got the ball in as quick as he could, the guy probably blacked out, to be completely honest with you. Probably just didn't even know what the heck was going on in that moment. Probably so much adrenaline going in. The dude just banged up against the wall, made a crazy catch. Crowd's going crazy. He probably has no idea what's even happening in this moment. He probably can't even process what's happening. So he just made a throw. I think he was going for the cutoff man and ended up getting by him. And then in the end, throw to first, doubles off Harper. Unbelievable. Bryce Harper, this guy is such an intelligent player, but sometimes the aggressiveness with Harper comes back to bite him, and it really bit him here. Because I think we all thought that was going to be a base hit. I don't blame him in a way, because that ball looked really looked like a homer, but it looked like it was going to drop in at least. Unbelievable play by Harris, and Harper did look a little foolish in the end, but I almost can't blame him, because if that ball drops, Harper's scoring the tying run, right? So in a way, I don't blame him, but in hindsight, yeah, it's doesn't look great, right? So you maybe have to kind of, it's hard. It's a tough call, right? Because you want to try and score, right? But in the end, it bit him. But the star of the show on the offensive side for the Braves, Austin Riley. Austin Riley, man, this is a guy, I think he's so underrated, at least this year. This year, I think Austin Riley has been a pretty underrated player. Ron Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, these guys have just been absolutely incredible for the Braves this year. But Riley coming through with the massive homer there in the bottom of the eighth. I know you got the d'Arnaud home run. That was great, and then the Braves aren't winning this game without that d'Arnaud homer. But Riley, that was what they needed. They needed energy. They needed something to make them feel good about themselves. They needed something positive, right? Even with the d'Arnaud homer, they were still behind, right? And it still felt like they were miles behind the Phillies at that point, because it felt like it just seemed like the Phillies had their number up to this point, right? I know it had only been a game, but you just had that feeling like, are the Braves going to be able to get this done? And they did. And Riley, to me, the year that he's had, a great year from Austin Riley. 281 with the batting average, a 345 on base, 516 on the slugging, 37 homers. But to me, he is underrated because of how good Acuna's been and how good Olsen has been. No one's talking about Austin Riley this year, and he's been great. So I'm just saying, man, that's a big spot, and that's a big moment. And if you end up winning a World Series, you look back to a moment like that, right? I always think with the Red Sox, excuse my giraffe neck mark here, but I always think with the Red Sox, sure, they had those World Series runs, but I think of the moments along the way. I think of that David Ortiz walk-off against the Angels, right, in that 2004 ALDS. I think of the Manny Ramirez walk-off homer against the Angels in 2007, right? I think of Josh Beckett coming up big against the Indians in Game 5 in that ALCS, right? These are the moments that you remember along the way, and I think for teams to win the World Series, you have to have these clutch moments along the way, and you have to have these big-time spots to be able to call yourselves champions. I think that really is the big thing. That's a big part of it, right? Yeah, make it to the World Series, but you're going to have to come up big in these spots, and this is exactly what the Braves needed. It was a feel-good moment. It brought some hope back because it looked like they were going down 2-0 heading back to Philly, and you did not want to go down 2-0 going back to Philly. That's just like it's a death trap at that point. It's like you might as well just end the series at that point. But it's funny because I was wondering if this was going to be the opposite. I was wondering if the Braves were going to win Game 1, right? Crowd would be really revved up. Strider's on the mound. Braves go up 1-0 in the series. And then I was wondering if the Phillies would end up winning Game 2 behind Zach Wheeler, and then they had momentum going back to Philly. Now, it feels dead even. It feels completely down the middle right now. Now, the Braves had the momentum, but the Phillies got home. So, I don't know what to think at this point. I don't know. I would like to think this is going to go 5. I would think this is going to go 5 at this point. To me, I think it needs to go 5. I think it needs to go 7, to be completely honest with you. I think this is worthy of a 7-game series. And it's a shame that it's only 5, right? Let's see where it gets, but this is getting big time right now. You knew this coming in. I was hoping it wasn't going to be like what it was last year. I was hoping so much that it wouldn't be like that. Just like a shorter series with 2 good teams. I hate that. When I see 2 good teams going up against each other, I want to see a full series. Red Sox, Yankees back in the day, you needed 7 games. You needed that. Most recently, Yankees, Astros, right? You needed those 7-game series because they were good teams. You hate it when it only goes 5 games in a 7-game series. You hate it when it only goes 4 games in a 5-game series. You need 5, right? And I hope it goes that far. And I think it will. It feels kind of like how it's, the momentums are shifting. I wonder if this is going to end up being a back and forth series. But going to the next game, so as of right now, the percentage chances have shifted in favor of the Braves. And this is a really interesting matchup because you got Aaron Nola going for the Phillies, and he's been looking great. All right, so sharing my screen here. And now Bryce Elder is going to be on the mound. And right now, so at one point, Fangraphs, they had projected that Strider was going to be on the mound for Game 5. And I remember actually going over that. I didn't bring it up at the time, but afterwards I thought, why would they save Strider for Game 5? I feel like you kind of have to go Strider Game 4. I don't know why. Fangraphs was being weird with their whole projected starter thing, but this makes sense now. This makes sense to where you have Elder for 3, and then you got Strider on the mound in Philly. And to me, say what you will about Strider, being in Philly and whatever. But to me, the way that guy pitched in Game 1, I think Strider will live up to a big game like that. If they are down in this series, down 2-1, Strider needs to be that stopper for the Braves. He needs to be. He has to be that guy. That's the one thing with the Braves in this series. They don't have Charlie Morton. They don't have that luxury of having 3 starters. So Strider, this is going to be one of those postseasons where he's going to have to get up there with some of the all-time great performances, I think, for the Braves. Now, I don't think they necessarily need a perfect Spencer Strider in this postseason, but it would really help, in my opinion, especially, even if you do make it to the next round, Charlie Morton, who knows, what he's even going to be like with the finger, with a bit of a layoff there, who knows? But to me, you need Strider just absolutely putting on performance after performance, kind of like I mentioned with Beckett back in 2007. They need that, right? You need like that Madison Bumgarner-esque kind of postseason, in my opinion. And Fried, I think Fried, he just needs another start, right? I think if you do make it to the next round, I think that's going to be huge, right? If let's say he pitches the Game 5 and he gets that start under his belt, I think that's going to be exactly what they need. And I think for Fried, getting this start under his belt tonight, I think it's really going to help him if they do end up getting to a Game 5. He just needed to kind of shake off some rust, in my opinion. It just seemed like Fried was a little rusty tonight. Didn't look sharp. He was able to get through it as good as he could. But that's not the best Max Fried I've ever seen. So we'll have to see here. This is going to be an interesting series. I'm excited for it. The Braves have woken up, but this is going to be tough going back to Philly. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but that is what makes postseason baseball fun. I'm excited for it. We got the American League games on tomorrow. We got the Twins and the Astros. Right now, it's pretty even when it comes to the win probabilities on Fangraphs. They are leaning slightly to Sonny Gray, but Christian Javier has looked better. Sonny Gray at home, I do like that personally. And the Twins, they just look really solid right now. And the Rangers and the Orioles are fighting for their postseason lives right now. You got Nathan Eovaldi back in Texas against, Dean Kramer. To me, it's kind of one of those things with the Orioles. Don't let the Orioles win Game 3 because they're one of those teams. Even like I have said this, Conman752. I don't know if you are here in the chat, but I think he would agree with me. And I've said this multiple times about the Orioles. They are such a tough team. Even when they're down 11-5 yesterday, you get the home run from Aaron Hicks to make it 11-8. They don't ever make you feel comfortable, right? They don't ever let you feel like you got the game in hand. It's always something with this Orioles team. Don't let the Orioles win Game 3, in my opinion, because then you would have... Now, it's funny because I thought Kyle Gibson was pitching Game 3, but I guess they switched it. So they're leaning Dean Kramer for Game 3. And then you'd have a veteran guy in Kyle Gibson for Game 4. I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him. I almost feel like Kyle Gibson, that veteran presence, would be better for Game 3. I don't know. The Orioles are going with a bit of strategy here. So we'll have to wait and see. Kid Canuck, I don't know, man. I got to disagree. I don't think Sonny Gray is overrated, man. Sonny Gray is one of the best pitchers in the game this year. I don't know. But, everyone, I'm glad we got a good game here with not the Brewers. You can already hear me. I got to go to bed. I'm so tired. The Braves and the Phillies. This is looking like we're going to have an all-time great series, and I'm really happy about that. Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Let's see if they have updated this now. So no, they have not updated this now. But right now, the Dodgers, they're in rough shape. I don't know what to think about this Dodgers team. They need Mookie and Freeman to get going, because if they don't got those guys, they're nothing without those guys. So you got Fott. Can he end up being, that stud that we all know he can be in the future? Can he kind of maybe get ahead of schedule here, turn in an all-time great performance for the Diamondbacks? We'll have to see. Lance Lynn. I think Lance Lynn has a shot at giving you a decent start. He's looked a little better. He had a couple of clunkers there against the Marlins. And I forget the other team, but he ended up giving up 15 runs over 2 starts. But he looked a little better towards the end of the year. So I think Lance Lynn, it's going to be I think it's opposite ends of the spectrum for Lance Lynn. I think it's either he gets absolutely wrecked or he ends up being pretty good. We'll have to see. I don't know. I'm not feeling good about the Dodgers right now. Until I start seeing them swinging the bats, I think this is the Diamondback series. But the Dodgers need to swing. They have to swing. Everyone, real quick, I'm just talking about tonight's sponsor really quick. That is Underdog Fantasy. The link is in the description down below. Use the promo code Hyde at sign up. You get a double on your first deposit up to $100. Everyone, I made a couple of bets here tonight. I actually decided to. I'm going to be honest with you. I completely forgot to make some baseball picks, and I'm like, no, I forgot to make the baseball picks. But we had Monday Night Football on. So I was like, all right, I'll throw in a couple here on Monday Night Football. I'll drop a couple bucks. Why not? And I actually got pretty close. I dropped $20 for a bet and had a shot to win $400 if I got all 5 correct. I was good with Christian Watson, Jimmy Garoppolo, and A.J. Dillon. In the end, I fell short. I went 3 for 5 on my pick'ems for tonight. Jordan Love just missed getting 195 passing yards, had 182. I don't know, man. And then Romeo Doubs, needed 3 receptions from Romeo Doubs. I only got 1. So in the end, I don't know. I can't win anything on here. I don't know. I get so close. Almost won $500 the other night. I came this close. I needed 2 strikeouts to win $500. I don't know. Go try it out for yourself. See if you can do better than me. Click the link in the description down below. Again, use the promo code Hyde. You get a double on your first deposit, up to $100. I guarantee you will do better than me. I'm just not good at predictions. I'm not good at predicting. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I got to figure out something. I don't know if I got to go get some mental help to help me with my predictions. I don't know. Am I hitting a mental block when it comes to predictions? I'm just so bad at them every single time. But I guarantee you will do better than me at Underdog Fantasy. So, everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I really hate that they put these West Coast games on at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Can they please start putting these games on at 5 o'clock on the West Coast? Help us out. Listen, East Coast people, we got to go to bed. I can't be doing this at 1 a.m. I got to be up in 6 hours. I'm just saying. Everyone, I'm out of here. I'm exhausted. I'll be back here tomorrow night to talk post-game after the Twins and the Astros. So just a reminder for the game times. The Orioles and the Rangers is on at 8 o'clock. Astros and the Twins is on at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So I'll be on after the conclusion of the Orioles and the Rangers, so stay tuned for that. And then we got a big schedule on the 12th, I believe. On the 11th. We got all 4 games. If it does end up going to a game 4 with the Orioles and the Rangers, as well as a game 4 for the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, we got a full schedule on Wednesday. So let's see. We could have a full slate on Wednesday, but I will be back tomorrow night to talk the American League matchups. Everyone, if you can, on the way out, please hit that like button for me. I'm not sure where the likes are at right now, but if we can try and get to 100 likes, I will be a happy boy. Subscribe. If you are new, make sure you turn on the bell notification. That way you know I go live every single time. Share the stream for the people that weren't able to catch the show tonight. But everyone, I'm out of here. I'm exhausted. I'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Have a great day tomorrow, and I'll talk to you next time.